One of the biggest challenges in life is knowing when you're wrong, and that's it's probably a skill that most people don't have, and even when we think we have it, we don't really have it. And I wanted to, something happened with my wife recently that I thought would be an interesting way to kind of show you one of the reasons that it's so difficult, to be able to identify when you're wrong, and that's because of perspectives. We all got this unique map of the world. So you look at something that you think are facts, and then the other person looks at the same thing, same facts, yet they have a different interpretation of those facts. Now, your interpretation isn't the truth. It's just the way that you see it. See, and a lot of us don't understand that. We think that, that's just common sense. So that's really what happened. And it's not what happened. There's a difference between facts and truth and interpretation. So let me give you the facts of this encounter with my wife. The facts is she brought dinner to this very desk, and she sat it right over here. And there was a box of green tea. She grabbed the green tea, moved it to the other side. And I'm a fan of coins, and some of you may know I used to work for NASA for a while, so this is one of my NASA coins. And in moving the box, one of the coins fell on the floor and got broken. Now, these are dear to me. I've taken them all over the world. So those are the facts. Now, what I could have done in that situation is got upset. Why did you move the coins? It fell on the floor, it broke, and I would have been right. I would have also probably been slapped, but I would have been right. And she was feeling horrible because she knows that I love those coins. So you can interpret these facts in two separate ways. Why did you move my stuff? Why did you let it fall? Why did you break my coin? Like that's all true, right? It's a perfectly valid interpretation. But the reality is my wife spent time cooking me dinner. By the way, it was filet mignon. It was a very nice dinner. She brought it to me because she knew I was working, and she didn't want me to be interrupted and have to go somewhere and sit down and eat it. So she brought it to me here. And she saw that something might get in my way while I was eating it. So then she moved my box of green tea to the other side of the table so I could eat comfortably. And then she saw that the green tea was close to my coins that I loved so dearly, and she knew that, so she wanted to move the coins to make sure that they wouldn't get broken. And in doing so, one fell down on the floor and broke. But see, it's a very different way to interpret what happened. The first way, I would be justifiably angry. You moved my stuff. I can't believe it. You broke my coin. And the other one is understanding the true intentions of things. And see, this is where we're getting mixed up. And I don't want to get into politics, but we do that a lot in politics, is that we start attributing an intent or attributing a motive to someone. And then we start thinking that we're right when we're not, right? You can look at a very succinct set of facts and have two completely different interpretations, and neither one of them may be right or may be wrong. You just have to understand that just because you believe something is right doesn't mean that it's right. It's just what you personally believe. And then look at the other side and understand the intentions and their interpretations of the fact and the intentionality, the true intentionality behind it all. And then you can start seeing what the truth is, and if whether you're right or whether you're wrong. Right? And that's one of the key things that really helps you connect with people and have better relationships, is you have to understand that just because you think you're right doesn't mean that you're right. It means that you believe you're right. They're two separate things. And I do this a lot in the workplace. I'll say something and say, look, this is what I think, and just because I think it doesn't make it right, it just means I think it. And I'll actually say that to make sure that people understand that I'm not taking an absolute firm position on 99% of things, because they're not that cut and dry. It's just, based on my experience and what I understand the facts to be here, this is my interpretation and this is what I believe is right. That doesn't mean that now I'm closed-minded and I will not see anybody else's view, right? So that's one thing, is perspective. And the second thing is talking too much, listening too little. And it ties in with the first one. What I mean is, you make up your mind and you've passed judgment already. So to you, the truth is there, the facts are there, the truth exists, and now everything else that is not what you think is wrong. And you're just going to explain why you're right and why they're wrong. Instead of that, you need to go, okay, maybe I believe this, but I don't know everything. There might be something I'm missing. And then listen more. Ask more questions about, what they believe and what led them to think something. And that might open your mind, and you might even change your mind. And you may be able to find that maybe you were wrong, or maybe it wasn't the best way, or maybe it wasn't the best thing. But that's the other thing, is just you start off with a judgment, right? This is what I think is right. And once you make that in your mind, it clicks. It clicks. Now everything that comes in is something that you have to fend off because it doesn't match what you've decided the world is. What you've decided this is. So we need to push back, shove this stuff out of the way because I've made my judgment. This is what it is. So you have to work on that. It's not make those quick judgments and start trying to just talk about and explain your judgments. You want to sit down, and you may feel a certain way about it, and understand that you feel that certain way. Doesn't mean that it's the truth. Doesn't mean that you're right. It just means that you feel a certain way about it. And then sit back and let other people talk. Let other people express what they feel about it and what got them there and what made them feel that way. And then be the last to speak. You'll have the advantage of listening to everything. And you might change your opinion in the middle of all of that before you even voiced it. So the benefit of that also is not looking stupid. So, number one is that understand we have different perspectives of the world. The same set of facts can be interpreted in many different ways. And just because you interpret that way doesn't mean you're right. Understanding that, then don't make a judgment. Because when you make a judgment, your mind goes into a defensive mode. This is your map of the world. This is what you believe. And so anything that comes against it means it's wrong. So I've got to somehow say why that's wrong. You want to not make that judgment. Understand that only you believe something and it doesn't make it right. Understand that in your heart. Understand that truly. And then ask questions and receive the response. And truly try to get the response and understand it. Don't just wait for them to finish talking so you can talk. Ask a question. Listen and be the last to speak. If you do those things, you'll find yourself, it'll be a lot easier to understand when you're wrong. And not only that, is you'll